So dudes, Operation Steal Yo Girl is coming to a test server build near you, and I want you all to know about one of what is probably the most impactful updates we've had to the attacker meta yet, and what is perhaps the operator meta as a whole. The big three content points are obviously the two operators Ace and Melusi, but to say those are the only remarkable parts of this update is an understatement. Kali got Clash's submachine gun. Amaru got a decent buff because the hook doesn't destroy the barricade whenever you try to yeet yourself through a window, up until the point she actually gets through the window. Rotate Man got 2 changes. Charging through walls only does 5 damage to him, and his MP5 can now be equipped with an angled grip. The Italian wall eraser shotgun has also been modified to fire slugs. You can imagine how effective that is.
Peter, you can't speak Italian just because you have
ACS 12.
Tu sei un pazzo, va via da qui!
Knew he was there. He's in the hatch on the little doorway.
Mamma mia!
And many defending operators now have access to the proximity alarm, a throwable device that can stick to any surface that will let you know when the microwave is done. I got to play Operation Steel Wave along with the rest of the Rainbow Six Siege YouTube community, which was a lot of fun, especially the parts that got corrupted because of shadowplay things. We tested out the new operator gadgets. We ran out on house. We wreaked havoc from above. We laughed. We cried. We died in embarrassing ways occasionally, but there were no hard feelings, or at least I don't think there were.
Right.
Oh!
No, what?
Oh, he was down.
Hold on, 500 IQ. Fuck. Much along the pattern of many map reworks, the new house has been expanded widely to make it less claustrophobic and chaotic. The layout is for the most part similar, but everybody's favorite T-Hunt map will require newcomers to take stock of some completely new rooms and connecting hallways. I'd say the most extensively changed part of the map is the second floor. I definitely think that gunners are still going to be going for runouts on this map, but the attackers have a little bit more covered to make it a little bit easier for them to react. You can also see that one of these garage walls that I'm next to is completely solid. The only one you can get through is the wall to the right. The main garage has also been extensively modified to provide more corridors of access, and to make it a little bit less attacker-sided when the main garage wall finally gets opened. The main and central staircases are still there though. Kids' room has now been expanded and connected to another play area room for the kids. Now these kids are some of the most bougie in the world I've ever seen, with the little man's own car bed, and the girl who you can tell was born in the family first because her room is just about as big as the parents' master bedroom. The shower has 3 windows in it so that everyone in the neighborhood can see you in your most natural form, as well as hear your American Idol shower audition tapes. But the layout of the main stairs and the main lobby is for the most part the same. The games room has been modified a little bit, and there is an additional room entirely dedicated to musical instruments that wasn't there previously, giving you access to an entertainment room that's adjacent to the kitchen.
Setting the welcome mat.
There's also another staircase on the opposite end of the map connecting the dining and entertainment room portion of the map to a gigantic library where the master bedroom used to be. Which is crazy, because who the hell's got money for a pool table, like 5 guitars, and a nice piano, a giant liquor cabinet, a home gym, all these books and bookcases? I mean, all I want to know is,
who is your daddy and what does he do?
We didn't just play on the new house. We also played on a number of different maps and experimented with the Norwegian dedicated hard breacher with an AK-12. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about that. And the South African 3-speed area denial operator, Melusi. The attacker, call sign Ace, breaks into buildings with his buddies Mr. Incredible and Frozone, while the wives aren't paying attention, with the assist of Canned Breach. Canned Breach is a throwable device that sticks to any hard or soft breakable surface, and when it does so, it lays out a couple of strips lawn-wise. These bars flex and break a piece of the metal open about the size of an open mirror window. The can rolls down, sets out another set of strips, does the same thing, then does so one more time for a combined total of 3 separate breaches from top to bottom that make one giant hole. If you throw it just the right way, you can make it so that you can walk right through the hole that you open up.
Yeah, I think it's actually like perfect height right there.
Thermite's charge makes a pretty distinct sound and a very hefty explosion that every Siege player surely knows by now. But the first thing that you're going to notice about Ace's gadget when you use it is that it's really, really freaking loud. We're talking like hydraulic press levels of loud. I can still hear it 38 meters! Oh my gosh. Now this sounds pretty awesome until you realize that it takes a little bit for this gadget to get going. So there's plenty of time for the defenders to counter it. But if you can keep them from countering it, you got a way into the site. I suspect that this level of interplay will be quite prominent at a competitive level. Even if you can't make a hole to get into the site, you can still create sight lines and cause a great deal of commotion that way. The gadget can be countered by electricity and can be jammed by mute, wherein successful destruction of the mute jammer will allow the gadget to continue working. 2 successful cycles of one of these gadgets also allows Ace to breach reinforced hatches. Since he has 3 of these devices, he, like Habana, can breach up to 3 hatches. It's gonna get really noisy when Ace shows up, especially if he runs into these things.
Okay.
This is so terrible to look at. I know what it sounds like.
Oh my god.
Pictures you can hear.
I can still hear it all over here, all over top of the music.
Much like a Wamai disc, the proximity alarm sticks to any surface. When a defender runs into its effective radius, it will make this sound.
The running speed starts slowly, but gets faster each minute after you hear this signal.
Pretty noticeable, right? But isn't barbed wire gonna basically do the same thing? What's the point, you might ask? I would argue that barbed wire is more for area denial than it is sound cues, although the sound cue is a decent bonus. But these little buggers can make noises up to 26 meters away. That's from this end of the lower bridge on Canal all the way to the end. The range at which you can hear a barbed wire cue is considerably shorter than that. So while these devices can be shot and dealt with relatively quickly, a lot faster than you can deal with barbed wire, I can certainly see crafty defenders coming up with placements that require at least proximity to deal with them. And they are pretty easy to miss on cursory drone glances. One ring of this thing, and you can expect a 3-speed to come chasing you down pretty quickly. But if you thought it wasn't getting loud enough, the Defender Melusi is a 3-speed area denial operator with another piece of active set and forget utility for the defenders. A bulletproof triangle that emits a noise that's evidently so excruciatingly terrible that it slows attackers within its midst down, limiting their movement speed just a little bit and preventing them from sprinting. They can still aim, but no peeker's advantage for you. Slow peeks only.
Skittles is in kitchen lesson.
Oh.
Rotate to garage. Big brain, big brain.
Wait, no, doesn't your Finka thing counter it?
There's a slow there too, bro.
Oh, nice try.
And just like that, I heard the voice of thousands of Ashmains crying out in terror upon witnessing this thing. But Ash and Zofia can deal with it, much like they can deal with Maestro cameras or Goyo shields. The device can be meleeed out of commission as well, if you can get that close to it without getting C4'd or shot. I think Melusi will be one of the more popular gunner ops thanks to her 3-speed rating, with the addition of impact grenades and the high fire rate, low recoil nature of Legion submachine gun. Regardless of her kit, she's definitely fun to play, and I like her usage of Ella's pistol with that nifty sight as a nice touch.
He might be going for
Yeah,
a
behind
revive.
that.
Maybe.
Nice. There we go.
In my operator videos, I try my best to give information that isn't just basic, but stuff that sort of contextualizes an operator's place in the operator meta as a whole. For reasons still unknown to me, of which I am nevertheless grateful for, Ubisoft, in addition to letting me play the new operation, got me in touch with Ubisoft's operator guy. I might be the operator how-to guy, but without this dude, Jean-Baptiste Hallet, lead game designer on Rainbow Six Siege, who previously worked on conceptions of new operators since Red Crow, that's year 1, season 4, which is about the same time this YouTube channel started to pop off, I probably wouldn't have a job. Now I think that Melusi and Ace are both going to be pretty good operators just on their own, but are they good enough to bring in place of, say, a Thermite, or a Maverick, or a Legion, or a Maestro? So I shot the question. Ace has a pretty decent utility. I'm really happy with his design especially. because that's the role that I tend to do with my buddies. And as a hard breacher in combination with a thermite, we discovered this last night on Consulate Garage. It's really difficult for the defenders to kind of, it's one thing if there's just one ace on the team and he throws his thing on the wall, and that there's usually a pretty decent amount of counterplay there. But if you have two people trying to breach, like setting their gadgets at the same time, it can be really difficult to stop a push into the site. Kind of going back to the Jaeger with my comparison, was the intention with Ace's design to make an alternative to existing hard breachers, or more like a supplement to already existing ones?
More of an alternative, although I think it's completely fine to imagine that in a certain amount of compositions and in a certain amount of context, like bomb sites and all, you could imagine that having two of them would be the optimal thing to do. I think that's fine, but ideally we want it to be more of an alternative. So if we always see Ace in combination with a Thermite or a Hibana, and we never see Ace just by himself, it's not something that we would be happy with. I think we really want him to be a viable opener, and one that doesn't necessarily need other openers with him to be viable. I think his Thermite is always going to be extremely efficient at doing these big openings. He's always going to be the king of that. We're just trying to find ways where, like, context in which other ways of opening could be more efficient. And typically the end result of what Thermite gets is always going to be the best. Like, it's a huge opening. But the thing is, Thermite has to take quite a lot of risk. If the charge gets denied, it gets fully denied and you get absolutely nothing out of it. So we're thinking that maybe there's potential for Ace to still find a room where, like in bomb sites, for instance, where it's a bit more risky to get to the wall and commit to the animation of putting the charge, or maybe in positions where it's already really good to have one or two of these three explosions from Ace open. Like, we're hoping that there's some room here.
That's the main reason Thermite's not really picked on Coastline a lot, and I think that Ace is a perfect replacement for that because of the throwing aspect of it. Because he can throw that gadget on the quad walls on Coastline that people like to hide in.
Absolutely. That's a very good example. It's exactly the kind of situation we're thinking about, where we think that Ace could shine and where he could potentially be a better pick than Thermite.
Cool. Now that answer stood out to me because that confirms to me there's at the very least a desire by Ubisoft to make tectonic shifts in the attacker meta, and I think that this is something that we've needed for a while. Melusi's gadget is very, very good, don't get me wrong. It'll make rushing into the default plant spot very difficult if it's not taken care of. It synergizes very well with other lethal gadgets like C4. It has a very wide range of effectiveness. Melusi's a good operator, but her job isn't exactly a new list of job requirements on your Team Rainbow application. Goyo, Smoke, Legion to a certain extent, and even on attack, you've got Gridlock and Fuse. In Siege, we only have 3 hard breachers. That's Hard Breach Boomer, Hard Breach Zoomer, and Hard Breach Doomer. So who's this guy? Hard Breach... Wait. Oh god. Out of all the attackers, all 26 of them, that is 4 out of 26. That is 15% of the current attacker roster that is dedicated to Hard Breach. That isn't even enough to bring on a full team of 5. And I know that this comparison might seem a bit weird to make because Hard Breach is only a useful strategy for attackers really, but area denial is a thing in a wide range of competitive shooters. Molly's in CSGO, Valorant slow fields, Overwatch ice walls, you name it. If you're playing an FPS game, there's probably going to be something that's going to keep people from moving through a certain area for a certain amount of time. Destruction of reinforced surfaces is a mechanic that is unique to Siege and Siege alone, and it only got touched up on for the first time since year 3 just now. I know that we've all been jumping up and down and screaming for something to deal with the so-called 20-second meta, and Melusi's gadget, we started calling it the Wub Wub, is definitely going to contribute to that. But we just added another hard breacher for the first time in basically forever, and he has an AK-12, which is arguably the best assault rifle in the game. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stocked out, if you catch my drift. These next few months are going to be pivotal for Rainbow Six Siege, not just with the way that they're doing esports now, but also with the way that they're pushing out patches. We weren't able to get the Technica rework or the new pings or relay systems this time around due to the strange times that we're in. But I don't think we're blaming anybody. I make operator how-tos, so naturally I'm pretty excited to see when a new operator looks like they're going to shake up the meta. This is me on my way to give you my love and support in Operation Steel Wave. I'll see you all on the test server. I stream Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Links in the description. Thanks so much for watching. And thanks to Ubisoft for letting me play the build. Deuces.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, the back of your head is ridiculous.
Get that motherfucker!
The
The fuck?